My parents were very overprotective. I don't really know why, it's just the way that they were. Mom was always very intense and wanted to be with me all the time and control every aspect of my life. You know, from how I dressed to what I ate, to which friends I had, and, well, Dad, of course, with his mild and shy character, just let her do this. And needless to say, due to all of this, I wasn't the most popular girl at school. I can't remember a single day in my school life when Mom didn't manage to embarrass me. And had it been possible, I think Mom would have enrolled herself with me at school. Well, it's like she was because she was always there anyway. Every single day she took me to school, but it was not enough to just drop me off. She had to make sure that I made it to my classroom. I mean, how embarrassing is that? I don't know, maybe it's normal or cute when you're 6 years old, but definitely not at 16. And aside from dropping me in my classroom, she would often pick me up from there as well. And also, she was very involved with everything school related. Parents' council, school trips, school fundraisers, I don't know, you name it and she was there. One of the most annoying things was how loud my mom acted. For her, it was simply not enough to be next to me all the time. She was always talking and saying random childish things. And that explains why in 16 years of living, I was such a loser without a single friend. I only had a friend once, her name was Chrissy Gilbert. We were friends back in the 1st and 2nd grade. Well, we were not exactly friends, but we did spend a lot of time together because my mom was always hanging out with her mom. And at first, Chrissy was nice to me, but after some time, I could tell how fed up she got. And since my mom was always interrupting our games, telling us what to play or what to do, eventually, Chrissy's mom also realized how weird my mom is. So, she stopped hanging out with us. You know, I can't say that I blame them, though. Now, Chrissy and I were always in the same elementary, junior high, and high school, but she was always ignoring me. I never really tried speaking to her either, though, so I understood why she didn't want to be associated with me. She was such a popular girl with her group of friends. She was always having fun and being invited to things, unlike me. If I was not being ignored, I was being bullied. Kids used to make fun of me because of my childish, old-fashioned clothes, for being a loner, and of course, because of my mom. Every single day I got told things like, "Hey, Eileen, has your mom stopped breastfeeding you yet?" Or every single time we had to be in groups and I ended up being alone, the kids would say, "Want me to look for your mom so that she can keep you company?" You know, those kind of things. When I was in middle school, I cared a lot about those comments and jokes. And I used to care so much about what people thought of me. I was constantly crying in front of people and trying my hardest to be friends with them, to be taken seriously. However, when I was in high school, I stopped doing that. I didn't care what people thought anymore. They were just high school jerks after all. I had bigger problems. For many kids who are bullied, school is a living nightmare and home is a safe place. Well, for me it wasn't. No matter how mocked and criticized I was at school, I loved being there. They were my favorite hours of the day. I felt such peace because for me, home was hell. Having to put up with my mother is something that I don't wish to my worst enemies. There was never a minute of silence while that woman was awake. And I don't understand how it's possible for a human being to talk so fucking much. I mean, definitely talking was her talent, it was her job, her everything, and listening and being bored were Dad's and my specialties. So, my dad, well, Dad's advantage was that he could go in and out of the house as he pleased, and could just say he was tired from work or had some reading to do. Me, on the other hand, the only moment where Mom left me alone was when I decided to sleep. So every day before 8 p.m., I was already in bed. I tried to remain strong, but my life kept getting worse and worse. I always managed to cope with things by thinking that one day, once I was old enough, I could just move away as far as I could. But 2 years seemed so far away. Plus, I started to think, what if I'm not strong enough to just leave? So one day as I went to school and my mom dropped me off in class, she embarrassed me once again. This time by saying hi to one of the most popular guys in school, Adam. He was the boy I liked. I don't know why I was so stupid trusting my mother, telling her I liked Adam. Well, I guess I had no option. She pretty much questioned me for about 2 hours about boys until I admitted I thought Adam was cute. That morning when she took me to class, she didn't just leave once I entered through the door. In front of everybody else, she had the guts to say hi to Adam and tell him he should stop by the house one day for dinner. And then something worse happened. She said, "My sweet cupcake would love that." Now, from every single thing Mom had done, that was the most embarrassing thing ever. I don't even know how she was capable to act so childish, so stupid. It's like she didn't even think before talking. And because of my mother's words, I was teased the whole entire day. Everybody laughed at me, everybody looked at me, and everybody started calling me Sweet Cupcake. That, plus all the shit I had to tolerate at home, just got to me. During lunch, someone managed to get a hold of a cupcake and threw it at my head while I was trying to have lunch. I just stood up and left holding my tears. I walked as fast as I could to the bathroom and I locked myself in a stall crying. And after a few minutes, I heard somebody knocking on the stall, calling my name. Of course, this surprised me a lot, but I still didn't want to open it just in case it was a teacher. Well, that, and I didn't want people seeing me cry. So I cleaned my tears and opened the door. And it was not a teacher, but it was worse. Chrissy, my once friend, was standing there. Now, I hadn't talked to this girl since we were 6. All the contact I had with her had been her friends teasing me and me staying there quiet and ashamed. However, this time, Chrissy was alone without her group of bimbos. It took me by surprise, but she was being very shy and nice. She told me that she was sorry for everything that had happened and that she believed that the other kids were doing too much. She said she wanted to make things better, and therefore, she invited me to her place after school. Now, part of me wanted to go because, well, I'd never been invited anywhere before. But part of me was afraid of going because I thought it was all a prank. However, Chrissy promised me it was just going to be the two of us. She would help me out. That day after class, Chrissy and I asked permission from my mom to go to Chrissy's. And my mom was beyond excited and agreed. When we arrived to Chrissy's house, I was very surprised. I knew she had moved houses since elementary school, and I knew she had more money, but her house was even more wonderful than I expected. Her room was huge, very pretty and, sophisticated, unlike mine. Chrissy opened her giant closet and started to take a lot of clothes out. At the end, she told me that they were for me. I never had such trendy clothes. I wanted them so bad I almost cried from excitement, but I couldn't have them. So I had to say, Chrissy, thanks, but no thanks, because there was no way my mom would let me use those clothes without making a fuss. Oh, everything's okay. I already have it planned, said Chrissy. Then she proceeded to tell me what to do. Every day I would go to school with my regular clothes, but then before classes started, Chrissy and I would meet in the bathroom so that I could get changed. The plan was perfect, making me look better and definitely increasing my popularity and hanging out with Chrissy as well. Though there was one thing Chrissy did warn me. You have to stop the situation with your mom. She needs to stop entering the school. Once this happens, me and my friends will start hanging out with you. But you need to do your part. And after I left Chrissy's house, I went home and had dinner with my parents. And there I begged my mother to stop taking me to the door for the 50,000th time. And of course, at first, she was saying she just wanted to know how everything at school was, and putting other excuses up. Then she started crying so that I would change my mind. But I stood strong with my decision. So much I believe my dad got inspired because he finally said something smart and backed me up. He was strong and demanded for Mom to stop doing that. And at the end, she had no option but to accept. So the first day, our plan was successful. I managed to wear my new clothes and everybody looked surprised. And for the first time ever, school wasn't so bad. Also, not having Mom around lurking was just the cherry on top. The next day was very successful as well, and the day after that. And finally, on Wednesday, Chrissy and her group let me join them. I was thrilled. Hanging out with Chrissy and her friends meant everybody respected me, and boys flattered me a lot. It's like everybody had forgotten about the person I was until last week. And for the first time ever, I was invited places. I was included and treated with respect. It was a shame it didn't last for long. Earlier in the week, I had been invited to a party. One of Chrissy's friends was hosting. It was going to be my first official party and pretty much my initiation to my new life. I asked my parents for permission to go to a sleepover at Chrissy's. They were fine with it. Of course, I wasn't going to tell them I was going to an actual party. On Friday, the same day of the party, everything at school went normal until the bell rang and the classes finished. I was leaving the classroom with my new friends when we caught my mother outside the door. She, of course, was stunned to see me wearing a crop top and a skirt rather than my pink pre-teenager clothes. She started hyperventilating and acting as if she was going to have a heart attack. At first, everybody was worried, but I was used to that. She always did it. And I was so pissed, I asked her what she was doing there when I told her not to enter the school again. And just like that, in front of everybody, she gave me one of her classic answers. "Oh, I'm so sorry, Cupcake. I just came along to bring you and Chrissy matching PJs for the sleepover." As she handed Chrissy the ugliest looking pajamas I had ever seen. The pajamas said BFF. Oh my God. Everybody around was looking at this terrible scenario play out. I grabbed my mom by the arm and I ran out of there. And so I went home with my mother and she just freaked out on me some more. She yelled at me while she complained about my outfit, my hair, and pretty much everything. But I was done. I yelled back at her and told her everything I thought about her, including how ridiculous and pathetic she was, and how I was done with her. I know I was mean. But would you blame me? And after all, would you blame me after all I have been through? Whatever. I reached toward the door and Mom started once again with her act, hyperventilating and saying that she was going to have a heart attack. But I left. I knew it was all bullshit. An hour later, I arrived to the party where I was told I couldn't enter, and they didn't want me hanging out with them anymore. Of course, I started crying and asked what I could do to get them to forget about it. "When your mom stops existing, we might speak again, Cupcake," they all said as they laughed and shut the door in my face. Humiliated, I went back home just to find a horrific scenario. My mom had collapsed on the floor. I ran to her and tried to check her pulse, but I couldn't feel it. She was also very cold. And then I noticed she wasn't breathing. I was afraid. I grabbed my phone to call 911, and while they were on their way, I had the impulse of doing something. I took pictures of my mother's corpse. It's disturbing, but everything had a purpose. And that same night, I left Dad alone, dealing with the things regarding my mother's passing, while I went to the party once again. This time, when they opened the door, I simply showed them the pictures on my phone and said, "So, can I be one of you yet?" While I had a smile on my face, everybody asked me for details as they invited me in to have drinks. But I tried to dodge the answers while pretending I had killed my mother. And despite it sounding very messed up, it really impressed the group of 10 around me. I didn't care what they think, and I didn't care about my mom either. In fact, I'd never been happier. In all honesty, her death was the best thing that ever happened to me. After that, I started living the life I always wanted to live, and learned that people will indeed respect you more if they fear you. And to be honest, I'm glad she died of a heart attack, because if she didn't, I would have taken care of her myself.